in yourself there.
Yeah, I thought ladies always told the truth about things, but
Yeah.
at any rate, she made the comment that,
You want to say who she is first?
yeah, tell us who she is.
She's a Representative Lauren Underwood. She's a Democrat from Illinois.
And she made the statement that five, what's
No,
it?
she accused the Trump administration of intentionally killing the immigrant children at the border, and she said a recent string of child deaths were intentional and a policy change.
Well, let's think about that just a moment, folks. She's saying Donald Trump intentionally killed those children. Okay, when you intentionally kill somebody, did he use an axe, a gun, a sword, a knife? How did he intentionally kill those kids? You know, I'm by her like John Doggett was about Mr. Messenbaum. Stand up and prove what the hell you're saying. If you can't prove it, shut up and go away.
Well, you know, the thing is that they struck her comments from the congressional record, but she should have been removed from that Homeland Security Committee.
Yes, she should have, and she should not be a representative in the United
And
States.
Omar should be removed from, and yeah, okay. So we got Keith on the phone.
Well, yeah, how much of that kind of BS are we accepting without telling them to go away?
No consequences for the lies.
Yeah, Keith, help save me from
Save him from himself.
I'll try. Say, Conn, I think last week there was some discussion about our wonderful 44th president and how they covered his tracks all during the 8 years he was in. And I'm just curious, they're going to be releasing complete documents thanks to our 45th president. And I wonder how they're going to cover up, if he's involved in this, how they're going to keep covering up for President Obama.
Well, they're not going to be successful if they ever tell the truth. But that's what I'm saying. We have abandoned truth at the altar of political correctness,
That's right.
especially when it comes to the black president or a Muslim representative from Minnesota or wherever, Al Franken and not him, but Keith Ellison and this
Omar woman,
whatever she is. If we don't learn to tell the truth and call a spade, call a communist, call a shut up, Conn. Anyway, go ahead, Keith.
Well, I graduated from Texas A&M, but under my brother graduated from UT, and underneath the base of the UT tower, in large letters chiseled in granite, is "The truth shall make you free." And do you know who said that? Jesus Christ, our Savior.
Yeah.
Well, they had one of their lovely professors giving a speech on how God doesn't exist, Jesus is a farce, and he was standing right underneath that saying from Jesus, and he didn't even realize it.
Well, didn't UT
How did he get home, Keith?
Well, they gave him a parade.
Yeah.
They gave him a parade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But didn't UT used to be a Christian school?
It did, and it's evolved in something far different from Christianity.
Well, look at what we're evolving to, Keith, and we see it happening every day. For example, now there's a move to take "In God We Trust" off of public buildings, off of our money, etc. I guess they would like to replace that "In God We Trust" with another statement that would be "In Satan We Trust."
You go.
Is that what they want to do? And
that's what it's working towards.
And I'll say again, where's all the Christians? Did they die? What happened to them? Why don't the Christian people in this country stand up and say, "Not today, you're not going to do that"?
Exactly.
Like that guy. Why weren't there some Christian men standing there that said, "How are you going to get home?" I'm not encouraging violence, but I'm just saying.
Really? You should clarify that a little better then.
Okay, then.
Verbally, why aren't they?
Well, I wouldn't encourage violence, but I would just say that weren't there any men there?
Yeah, exactly. Say, Keith,
Yeah,
I mean, say, Con, I had a couple of websites that are very interesting. If I could pass them on to your audience.
You bet. You bet.
Well, there's one I got this morning from the name of it is counterthink.com. It's
Okay.
Mike Adams, and I looked at that. I was very impressed with that. And then there's a couple of interesting research centers. One is Israel. It's IsraelECT.com. It's Colonel Jack Moore, and it's an ongoing chapter after chapter. So it's a decent study. And then there's a book out there on the net by a gentleman by the name of Estes Mullins. It's EUSTACE Mullins, MULLINS, and the subject is The Curse of Canaan. And this is about, you can download this. It took me a while because I was so busy, but it's 151 pages long. But it goes on and on. It's some heavy research. Mullins was hunted down by the FBI because of his information that he presented. So it's something that, you can take it or leave it, but it's an interesting read.
But
and,
Keith, I'll plead guilty. I don't read as much as I should, and I don't follow as much of this as I should. I would encourage other people to do so. But all I have to do is just apply a little bit of common sense to what's going on.
Exactly.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what direction America is headed in and what direction the progressives are taking us in, and what the end result will be as it has been in other societies throughout history.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your call, Keith. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we sure
Okay.
do. Don't lose
Y'all
the
have
phone number, Keith.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
You have a
Thank
nice
you.
You
weekend.
too.
Yeah, bye.
Okay,
So-
folks, here we are. And I forgot where I was at.
Yeah, well, we as in Tina, we're going to talk about the stuff going on at the border.
Yes.
That's what we started on anyway. It's estimated that 10% of the United States population now is illegal aliens. And that's just what they know.
And growing.
Yes. And they say that Central America is emptying out into the United States.
Well, and I used the analogy about the cow pasture the other day. I guess if you don't live in the country, you don't understand what I'm saying. But I'll say it again. Maybe some of it can sink into a few people. If you own 1,000 acres of land and you got 100 head of cows on it, that's a good stocking ratio. The calves will grow up and you can sell them and everything will be just fine. If you multiply that cow herd by 600% a year, you won't do it but once, because the next year you won't have any pasture or any cows either. But that's what we're doing in this country. We've increased the illegal immigration rate 600% in the last year. I'm telling you, folks, we cannot sustain this. We have got to control the border, and you're going to have to control the Democrats before you can control the border, because the idiot Democrats want to increase immigration. Just, look at Beto O'Rourke. He wants to ban guns and open the borders.
Well, and then you have Mexico that's considering to legalize all drugs. And then we've got the birth rate in the United States as being at its lowest in 32 years. So what does that make? The American baby an endangered species? And it's all going to be replaced by, illegals?
Well, and the American patriot is an endangered species.
Yeah.
I keep asking the question, folks, what happened to all the patriotic, freedom-loving Christian Americans?
They're too scared to wear this hat. That's what it is. And we got 2 more of these hats, and we can order some more, and they're $35 a piece, and they're a fundraiser for this show. So I'm just putting that out there. We have 2 really nice red ones sitting in Conn's truck.
Well,
and I wanted to thank Best Quality Meat, because I walked in there with my brand new pink Trump hat on, just like Conn's red one. And they're like, wow, that's a nice hat. So glad you're wearing it. Thank you for wearing it. And I said, well, I got some more. And they said, well, I'll take 2 reds, 2 pinks, and a black.
Yeah.
And there we go.
But those are some good brave
They're not
American.
brave, just
They're
patriotic.
just patriotic, you
Yeah.
know, and they want to try to help preserve America as we live in it today. Now, here's a fellow that's going to probably object to everything I got to say, but
Finally,
he
Will, and I have to go pull up my stuff, so I told him I'd go look it up, and I did. Weeks ago, Will, where have you been?
yeah, we've been missing you, Will.
Oh, I had to go out of town, family.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I see you having a good time on the radio this morning, talking
Yep.
about all the patriots, and we do got a lot of patriots in this country. And Monday being Memorial Day, I just want to hope everybody take a little time to say a prayer for those who gave who sacrificed their lives for this great country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and their families.
Yeah, and their families.
Because
Yeah.
when Daddy don't come home, that's kind of hard on the family.
It was a couple of days when I was over there, and I didn't know if I was going to make it back. Man, I tell you what, some days I really did wish I had a Depend diaper on because it was just that bad. But I just wanted to say hi to the family because I was out of town and I see y'all having a good time. I'm not going to knock you down today, Conn, because
Thank you.
I'm not going to do it today because I'm just going to listen and get a good laugh like I always do.
But Will, when you call in and you object to what I say, you're courteous, you're a good caller, and I appreciate that. You don't get irate and radical, and yeah, a lot of people object to what I have to say, and that's okay. That's the American way. That's another reason, folks.
That's what makes it go around.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
the reason some folks didn't make it home alive, because they were protecting your right to say, Conn, you're crazy.
Well,
or
family.
whatever.
Well, you guys are family to me, and if anything, the president is my president. I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, because if he fails, we all fail. But I also believe that no one is above the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to let you know, because we were talking about how you had said that Trump had been golfing more than Obama, and I said that I thought you were probably wrong, and I went and looked it up, and I just wanted to let you know you were right.
He owns golf courses, of course.
Yeah, but I just wanted to let you know. I got stats on it. Okay, I went and got a whole bunch of stuff that you and I you had been calling in about, and I went and looked it all up. And so whenever you want to bring it on the next call, I got it ready.
And Will, now understand that it really does pain us severely.
No, it pains
to
you.
say that you're right.
No, it pains you. I'm good. I'll admit when I'm wrong, or my impression was incorrect. I have no problem with that.
You see, that's what a real lady is. I wish we had more real ladies like this in the world.
You haven't seen me when I'm off the air, though.
Hey, it's all good. But hey, guys, I just wanted to say hi, and y'all enjoy this Memorial Day weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Well, you enjoy it too, Will, and you be careful out there. Don't get run over on them highways.
I sure ain't. All right, brother. Take care and have a good one.
Okay, thank you now. Okay, there was Will from Colleen, and and we're fixing to go to a break, and y'all hang in there, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
where I come from. Here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's dear grace in an extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. It's a big old land with countless dreams, and happiness ain't out of reach. Hard work pays off the way it should. Yeah, I've seen enough to know that we've got it good, where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe, and there's a bell that still echoes the price that it costs to be free. I pledge allegiance to this flag. If that bothers you, well, that's too bad.
Okay, folks, here we are back on the
But if you got pride and you're proud to do,
call in radio talk show.
Hey, we could
And
use
I
some
agree
more
with
like
what
me
that
and
singer
you.
just said. If you don't like the America,
Where the stars and stripes.
but I'll say it, if you don't like that flag, you don't like America, move. You know, there's other countries that I'm sure you'd be happy living in, Venezuela, stuff like that.
Nobody better kneel around you, right?
Not around me, no.
Not unless it's in front of the Lord.
Well, they may get kicked in the head.
So late yesterday, an Obama-appointed U.S. District Attorney, Hayward Gilliam Jr., blocked Trump's administration's move forward on construction projects that will fund with funds that Congress hadn't approved. And his order prevents work from beginning on two of the highest priority Pentagon-funded wall projects. One is spanning 46 miles in New Mexico, and the other one is covering 5 miles in Yuma, which they need really bad, even though it's 5 miles. And the judge said that while the order applied only to the first in-line projects, the judge made it clear that he felt that the challengers were likely to prevail at trial on the arguments that the president was wrongly ignoring Congress's wishes to divert Defense Department money. Congress absolute control over federal expenditures, even when the control may frustrate the desires of the executive branch regarding initiatives it views as important, is not a bug in our constitutional system.
What do we have to do to get rid of these Obama-appointed federal judges? What do we have to do to get rid of them?
Well, there's a little bit more here, and that wasn't all. It says it wasn't a total defeat for the administration because Gilliam rejected a request by California and 19 other states to prevent the diversion of hundreds of millions of dollars in Treasury asset forfeiture funds to wall construction, in part because he felt that they were unlikely to prevail on arguments that the administration skirted environmental impact reviews. As far as the other part of the decision, the delay may be temporary. The question for Gilliam was whether to allow construction of defense and treasury funds, or with defense and treasury funds, while the lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union, why are they in this? And the state attorney generals were being considered.
Well, let's look at the American Civil Liberties Union. They oppose everything that America does to promote freedom. You know, I don't know.
That's not what they originally were
organized
for.
And in the past, they've done some good things, but boy, here lately, you know what side they're on.
Yeah.
They're like the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, they just are devoted to the destruction of American traditional values. But I asked the question, what do we do to get rid of some of these Obama federal judges?
Well, we got Homer on the phone. Maybe he'll be able to tell us.
Okay, Homer, go ahead on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to call you about the a young man that's just getting out of prison or something. I don't think that he ever was in the Army. I think he was a young kid that just run off and become a Taliban man.
Well, he might be like that Indian beating that drum over there in front of the high school kids. You know, he claimed to be a Vietnam vet. He never was in Vietnam.
Well, either or. I mean, the man's a traitor.
Well, yes, he is, and I understand that, but I just didn't want people thinking that maybe he was in the Army or the whatever. But anyways, I want to tell you, Conn, I really appreciate this show. I listen to it every time I possibly can.
Well, I appreciate you listening, Homer.
Where were you at in Montana?
I was in up in Flathead County. That's up real close to the Canadian border.
Oh, yes, I was at just west of St. Regis.
Okay.
50s and 60s. When were you there?
I was there in the, I guess all through the 90s. I was there.
Oh.
I was there 9 years, and I sure learned a lot up there. I learned, the biggest thing I learned, Homer, was that you can take the boy out of Texas, but you can't take Texas out of the boy.
Yeah, I found that out.
Well, you know, it's just a lot of difference in people from different areas. For example, down here we talk different. You know, for example, I would say down here, I'd say, well, you know, that politician, he is squealing like a pig under a gate. Well, if you say that in Montana, they go looking around trying to find a pig under a gate. You know,
You trying to say they're literal?
Yeah, everything. You know, and I stayed in trouble the whole time I was there because I'd say something like that, and they'd wonder, you know, they had a town hall meeting up there. They wanted to increase the budget to the dog pound, and they wanted to increase it, I don't know, thousands of dollars, and hire veterinarians and everything else. And so we held this town hall meeting, and this fellow got up and he said, well, listen, we've got roving gangs of dogs, and what do we do if they start attacking our children? I said, heck, fire, shoot the dad blamed dog. And he said, well, what if the owner don't like it? I said, well, shoot him too. You know, and see, I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's just a natural reaction from an old Texas boy, you know, kind of a redneck kind of a feller. But anyway, that was just some of the difference between Montanans and Texans. But how long were you up there?
Oh, about 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well,
we appreciate the call, Homer.
Yeah. Thank y'all. I enjoy the program very much.
Okay, you be careful out there.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
So if you would like to sponsor this show, give a donation, or advertise on this show, you can call 254-300-1885, or you can send a check to Conn Tatum, that's Conn, at P.O. Box 34, Davila, Texas. Give the zip again, Conn.
Yeah, 76523.
And so we're good through June, but we need some funds for July.
And that number again is 300-1885. That'll connect you to my wife, and she'll take your information. So.
And if you'd like one of these great Trump hats, you can put your order in with her as well, and we will get you one.
And let me say that me being on this show is all kind of accidental. I never intended to start a new career at the age that I did, but
you got persuaded to.
I have really enjoyed doing it, and I appreciate the efforts that AC Boston and some other people made trying to help me get started on this show, because otherwise I never gave one thought to being a talk show host. I'm like a fish out of water, you know, but I just do the best I know how to do, and I'm still here.
Well, I mean, this show is about giving the listening audience an opportunity, a venue, if you will, to air their grievances, to to share their woes, their concerns, this and that. Hey, and Lee called back. Yay, Lee! There you are.
Yeah, and
hey, I was talking about that gaslighting. Remember?
Yes.
And I tell you what, everything that the Democrats, and you got to remember, the Democrats and the media are one and the same.
Yeah.
yes,
They send out their email every morning.
Yeah, because you listen, if somebody says one thing that catches on, they all say it. For example, they all remember they were all talking about manufactured crisis at the border.
Yeah.
They all picked it up. And then you heard constitutional crisis. It was a constitutional crisis there for a while. And now you hear the word cover up. Now they got to pick up the word cover up. What's going to be next week?
Well, they actually said that they have emails where they have from the DNC or just somebody in the media that has been speaking to somebody by phone, and then they send their morning email out.
Well,
this is the talking point, and this is what they do every day.
Let's ask ourselves the question: why is it that every station repeats the same phrase verbatim? I mean, exactly the same phrase every time by every news media.
It's called brainwashing.
It's called brainwashing. And when are we the people going to wake up to the fact that this is managed news? This is not news. This is managed news. This is social engineering that we're experiencing by our news media, and with the exception of talk shows like Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh, and even to a very, very minute, small degree, the Common Sense with Conn show. You would not hear very much about the truth if you didn't listen to some of the call-in talk shows like Rush and people like that, because if you're dependent on the major networks, boy, you're...
Well, I mean, even with go ahead, I'm sorry, Lee.
No, I'm just saying that's to say it's gaslighting. They're gaslighting.
Yeah.
They're making something and making the whole public believe it. They're just lightening it up.
Well, if it's everywhere, it has to be true.
Yeah, and if they say it, even though it's not true, they'll make you believe it's true. But you know what I think it is? I think it's the Trump delirium syndrome. I really think there's going to be a new thing.
Well, what worries me, Lee, is there an organized effort to destroy this country? I don't want to get off into conspiratorial politics, but how else do you explain the George Soros, Tom Steyer's, the Democrat Party, the news media? How else do you explain their desire, attempt, whatever, to destroy this republic called the United States of America? Because that's what they're doing.
Well, I think what it is they see the Constitution totally different than Republicans or conservatives. They see it as a living document, something that can be changed. And they want it, that it's always can be changed to fit their needs, which is all they want is power. They could care less about the American people. They just want power.
Well,
that's it. And if they can change, and if they can make the American people see the Constitution as a living document that's always changing, that's their perception. That's their idea. And that's what I think.
Well, that's why democracies don't work, Lee. They never have historically. Republics do work, and that's why we have a republic in this country. What is disturbing to me is turn your TV on and every politician, every news commentator refers to the democracy of the United States. This is not a democracy. It never was a democracy, and I hope the hell it never is a democracy. But do those people not know the difference?
Yeah, you can't have a democracy because the winds of change occur too often. Every time something comes up, the American people vote on it. They may change their mind one week, next week. That's why it's good to have a representative government, and that's what our Constitution is. It's representative. But we believe that it's fixed, it's stagnant, that it doesn't change. What the Founding Fathers meant is what they meant. They meant this, and that's the way it is. It's not something that we can just sit there and manipulate and conjure up to our own ideal ways,
Well, our Constitution, Lee, is much like the Ten Commandments. God gave those 10 Commandments And we, the people, can't just change it by a vote of 51% of the population. We can't do that. Well, that's the way our Constitution is. The liberals can't get out there and gather up 51% of the vote and change the Constitution. Now, it can be changed, but not by 51% of the vote.
That's right.
And people need to understand that and stop calling this a democracy. It is not a democracy. It's a republic.
That's right.
Now, see, Lee, you done got me stirred up here.
Well, that's just the way it is, and that's the American people. I think we know that. And I tell you what, I really think President Trump is going to win the next election by a landslide. I think the American people are everything's coming to light right now, you know, especially what President Trump did by releasing those documents.
Lee, if President Trump does not win in a landslide, America is over. We are living in the last days of America if Trump doesn't win. Can you in your wildest nightmares, not dreams, but in your wildest nightmare, imagine any of the Democrats that are running? Can you imagine one of them becoming president? You know,
heck no.
Like I say, that's not a dream, that's a nightmare. You know, my goodness. And how would America survive? You know, look at the Green New Deal. How many Democrats support that? You talking about a bushel basket full of idiocy, that's what that is. And can you imagine any Democrat winning the presidency and supporting those kinds of legislation? My goodness. You know, like I say, and I don't mean to sound like a fatalist or so negative, but I'm serious. If Donald Trump loses, America loses.
Well, you know what, Conn? I have a feeling that Barr is going to uncover a lot of bad stuff, and I think the American people are going to be shocked, and they're just going to never trust another Democrat, because what they've done to this president is disgusting, it's shameful, and embarrassing for them to be that way. And sometimes I don't know where in the heck they come from.
Hey, did you notice? Did you notice that right after he announced that he was going to declassify all this stuff, that Theresa May's resigned the very next day? Did you notice that? Because she's got her fingers in it.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you know that. I never thought of that.
But you know, Lee, if those papers are released and the cover-up from Hillary Clinton and all of that bunch, if their crimes are not exposed and if they're not punished, then I'll repeat what I have been saying for years. When you reward bad behavior, what in the cat hair do you expect to get more of? You know, if you don't punish bad behavior, you're going to get more of it. If we don't bring those people to justice and clean the swamp, we can expect a whole lot more of it.
Well, I think Brenham is the one that's going to really suffer the most.
Mm-hmm.
He's
scared.
And I think he leaked all that stuff. I remember whenever Trump won, they were just leaking it left and right, and Brenham was right in the thick of it. I know he was, because he would not have come out and started criticizing the president. I've never seen a CIA agent do that. Never in my life. And, you know, and I still think he's a Muslim.
Well, how could he be a good Muslim communist without...
You said that really out loud, didn't you?
Well,
he was a communist, I think, at one time.
Yeah, he voted for him.
Yeah.
But look at Mayor de Blasio in New York. He's a self-avowed card-carrying communist, and they keep re-electing him. Now, if we abolish the Electoral College, do people understand that Mayor de Blasio would probably be the next president of the United States? And he's a full-fledged, genuine, bona fide communist. What better way to destroy America? You destroy the Electoral College, and you will be destroying America.
That's part of a representative government is the Electoral College. See, it's not democracy. That's representing. And that's a good example of a representative country.
Yeah.
And the Electoral College is that.
Yeah, that's why it's a republic, not a democracy.
That's right. exactly.
But how many people, Lee, understand the difference or understand the value of the Electoral College? You know, how many people really understand that? It's surprisingly few people. You know, and that's what's scary. We're not being taught in high school or in public schools. We're not being taught about the value of the Electoral College or a republic versus a democracy. That's not being taught anymore. So,
No, it's not.
you know, as people like us die and go away, America's going to go with us. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Uh, Lee, I appreciate your call, and you done got me all stirred up again. So,
okay, well, thank you for letting me call in.
you're
Bye-bye.
more than
Thank
welcome. Be careful out there, Lee.
By the way, Vicky texted me and she said that the guy who killed the Kloss parents,
Yeah.
that he got 2 consecutive life terms without parole.
Well,
So-
that's worse.
Yeah, it is. So
how
that's she
how
just
long
wanted
are
you to
we
know
going to
that.
feed him at $60,000 a year?
I don't
you know,
know.
Yeah, thank you, Vicky, for that information. But I go back to my original point. Why are we feeding that rascal? What redeeming social value does he have? You know, he's out there breathing good oxygen and eating good food, and why? Why
And
is
getting
that?
cable TV.
Yeah. You know, he's getting a lot of benefits, and we're paying for it. Are we rewarding bad behavior? I kind of think maybe we are. So I think we're going to go to break here. Y'all hang in there, and we'll be back in a little bit. man having a little boy, and I saw the man on TV. He said, "Well, you mean down to age 18?" He said, "No, to the cradle."
Okay.
So is that the next thing that we, this good Judeo-Christian society, is that the next thing we're going to find acceptable? You know, where are we going with this? What road are we traveling? You know, it's really disturbs me to think about all the things that we now accept as normal that just very shortly, not very long ago, it was the unpardonable sin just about. Like killing a baby after it's born. Now we seem to accept that.
I don't understand this term infanticide. Okay, infants do not commit suicide; they're murdered.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't get it.
We change words now, and that makes it more acceptable. If you don't say murder, then I guess it's okay to do it. Well, the shedding of innocent blood is murder, folks. What's that baby done? And I don't like to get off into the abortion debate very much, but but I would bring up the fact that if we catch a serial killer that killed 27 people, whatever, when he's arrested, he is given his constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, we'll appoint one for you. Okay, are the rights read to that infant? Is a criminal entitled to more rights than a baby in the womb? I think that's a good question.
Well, you know, and then we had touched on the fact of black genocide, and that really what a disservice the white man had actually done to the black, to the black population. And
well,
go ahead.
Let me answer that. The greatest disservice we've done to the black population, we have done in the last 50 years, not in slave days. Look at the childless black children in the home without a father. Yeah, the fatherless. In 1970, it was something like, I forgot the figure, 1.5% or something like that. Today, it's 75% of black children do not have a father in the home. Couple that to today, for example, today's suicide rate. Male children commit suicide, 4 times greater than females. And one reason for that is no father in the home. So,
well, there's 900 black babies killed every day in the United States, which is just absolutely disheartening, just appalling. And and we were talking about the fact that this was all part of this was the Great Society program.
Yeah, under Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
And
we got about 3 minutes to condense this down. And
well, how many of the black families would wholeheartedly support the Lyndon Johnson Great Society program? But let me say that I think some black people are waking up. I'm seeing more black conservatives than we've ever seen before.
Well, the Great Society program was sold on a wave of empathy, war on poverty, Medicaid, Medicare, Head Start, education reform, urban renewal, et cetera, arts, humanities, environmental initiatives. But it is less 75% of black children without a father. That's what it's ended up doing.
Well, they promised something for nothing. Free food, free this, free that, free cell phones. I think Barack Obama was going to give them free cars. He did give them free cell phones.
But I mean, they don't have a work ethic. None of these women have to work. The only thing they're working at is having babies, and so many of those are then aborted. So I don't understand it. I don't see how this happened.
And the father of that child doesn't have to work. He just circulates out there and comes by the house every once in a while and collects part of the welfare money.
Off of several women.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very sad. And, and I think that I agree with you. I think they're finally figuring it out. But changing the culture is a lot harder. You have a lot of educated people out there, a lot of educated black people, but you have a lot of people that have been stuck in that impoverished, uneducated. Their mamas didn't want them to become educated, because they don't like the change. Change is scary, and change doesn't bring in a paycheck.
And it's a matter of percentages. How many Candace Owens are there?
Yeah, exactly.
How many Lawrence Jones are there as a percent of the population? So I see that percent growing, but it's still very, very small.
Yeah. So, all right,
Okay.
everybody, y'all have a very, really, really safe Memorial Day weekend.
And
Enjoy
remember
some-
what Memorial Day is for, folks. Just remember all those people that gave it all.
so that you could have this great weekend and you can have a voice and you can have an opinion. See y'all next week.
This holiday. Is this holiday about barbecue and beer drinking? Or is this holiday about remembering and honoring what? Oh, would it be all them little white crosses around the world? All them good folks that died to keep America free? Is that what it's about?
And for us to all have all these lovely, diverse opinions about things in the direction the world should go.
Yeah, we're Vice President Pence just gave the address at the graduation of 1,000 cadets at West Point.
And you were disappointed in it, weren't you?
I was disappointed because he did not stress that these are great future leaders qualified to do all these things. He stressed the fact of the diversity. Oh, there's 30 some odd black folks and I don't know how many brown folks and
which is all great, but he's not talking about qualifications. He's talking about diversity, integration.
And that's my
point. You can all be integrated as long as we're all qualified.
Do you want to, if you're in the military, do you want to look up and see the officer that's leading you and think that they are there because of the color of their skin or their gender? Or do you want to think that they're leading the battle because of their qualifications to be there?
And to keep you alive.
And
their strategy capabilities, their performance on task.
If I was out there in a conflict in the military being shot at or having to shoot back, I would hope that my leader was named John Wayne, not Lucy Mae Johnson or whatever. I'm just saying, and there's some Lucy Mays that are a good John Wayne leader maybe, but is that the why they're there?
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about Tina,
Okay.
Would
I just want to make sure you're talking about me.
Would you like to look up at the front of the line and see Tina out there saying, "Charge, boys"?
There's been many a soldier that has.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been scared.
I guess as long as she's out there wearing this Trump cap, I guess that'd be okay.
Hey, I got a pink Trump cap.
Yeah.
Just like yours. It's embossed with the Trump on it, and it says "Make America Great Again 2020." It's got Trump across it. It's got his signature embroidered on the brim. It's got 45th president on it, and it's Donald Trump on the back.
But the main question to her is, aren't you afraid to wear that cap?
No, I got lots of compliments on it.
Well,
but a man came up to me the other day. He's at Tractor Supply, and he was like really quiet. He was whispering, and he's like, "Thank you for wearing that cap." And I was like, "Sure. Love it. I got some more. You want one?" "Oh, no. I can't. I'd be scared to wear it." And I was like, man, that's so sad. It's sad.
It is a sad commentary. I've had people ask me if I was afraid to wear this cap. Calm down, Conn. But no, I damn sure ain't scared to wear it. I don't wake up every morning scared of who I might meet or what I might do. I go through life every day, and I try not to live in fear. So have we evolved in this country to a point where some women and a lot of men apparently wake up every morning scared to do something?
Well, it's just
What
like
are you scared of?
it's just like during Ted Cruz's campaign rally here in Temple. I heard a woman go up and talk to one of the campaign managers, and she said, I tried to push for Cruz. I tried to talk to, my fellow neighbors and stuff about Cruz and all that. But, a couple women, they just got so irate. I got scared. I'm not going to talk politics anymore.
Well, yeah.
You're speechless. That's awesome. That's great.
Don't get me started.
Okay, so on that note,
what if George Washington and Thomas Jefferson had said, I'm scared to talk about liberty and freedom. Oh hell no, I can't talk about that. Let's just let the king remain the king, and we'll keep paying him taxes, and we'll bow down to him, kiss his feet.
I thought that's what we did to you. Okay. Anyway, so on back to the Trump hats. Okay, I'm going to go back again to something else, but the Trump hats, we have red ones like Conn's that he wears all the time that are $35, and it's a fundraiser to pay for the radio show to be on the air, and then we have pink ones for $30. And I think we can get some navy ones if somebody's interested in that. So they just need to give us a call at 254-300-1885, and we can get your information and take the order for them. And if you want to advertise on this show or donate to this show, you can call 254-300-1885, or you can send a check to Conn Tatum, that's CONN, at P.O. Box 34, Davila, Texas. And I don't have the zip in front of me. What is 765?
It's 76523.
23.
And just keep in mind, folks, not 1/4 of that goes in my pocket.
Yeah,
not a dime.
We're both volunteers on that. Now to go back to this Pence. Oh God, my brain
graduation speech.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, graduation speech. It has to do is not with so much the diversity part as it is not building on the character qualifications of the men and women who are graduating in that class and what's expected of them and what the world may demand of them at some point. It's, we don't care what nationality, what color, what country they originally came from. We care about the quality of person and character and abilities that person's going to have. Well, and that was not being addressed in his speech.
You hear so much about equality. Oh, they want an equal number of women and an equal number of men and an equal number of minorities. Let me tell you something, folks. There is no true equality in this world.
In anything.
We are not all created equal. And, you might like to think that, but we're not.
Well, if this is true, then we wouldn't have a food chain, would we?
Well, and, I can't go out there and slap Arnold Schwarzenegger up beside the head. I'm going to get whipped when I do that.
Well, maybe if you run and jump and hit him right in the back like that one guy did.
I guess
maybe
so,
you can do that.
But I'm just saying, we are not all created equal. So when you vote for the President of the United States or any leadership position, we need to vote for that person based on his qualifications, not his skin color. And I contend that that's how Barack Obama got elected. Had nothing to do with his qualifications, had to do with the color of his skin.
Nobody wanted to look at his qualifications because they were so enamored with the fact he'd be the first black president, which is cool. That's great. Fine. We have a first black president. Can we just make sure he's somebody of quality? That he knows his job?
Somebody used the example one time, and it's true, I think. You take 100 people, give them all $100 apiece, and lock them in a room for 24 hours. When you unlock that door, some number of those people are going to have half the money, and some number of those people are going to be dead broke, because everybody is not created equal. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're out here digging ditch or whatever it is you're doing. I'll never forget, for example, in Kalispell, Montana, I was going down the road, and there was a city crew working on the sidewalk, and they were running a jackhammer. Well, there was 5 men and 1 woman, I guess, in order to be equal. So they would give the jackhammer to the lady, and she'd run it about maybe a minute or 2 minutes, and then give it over to a man, and he'd run it 10 minutes. Well, she was there not because she was qualified to run that jackhammer. You know, she weighed about 125 pounds, and the man she handed it to weighed about 275. Well, there is no such thing as equality. You know, and you can dream about diversity and equality all you want to, but, you know, there ain't no such thing. You know, we are not all created equal, not in body mass, not in mental ability, not in anything else. And some people rise to the occasion, some people don't. But like talking about the cap, you know, I cannot imagine people that are deathly afraid of wearing a cap. You know, what are you afraid of? You know,
they're afraid of being attacked, hurt,
well,
because we've gotten so civilized now that we have no primal instincts about anything. We don't get our hands dirty by touching one another and being abrupt or brawling or anything. That's uncivilized. You know, but the left does that all the time. But they do it viciously with words and yeah, okay, never mind, I'll stop.
I've said before, and I'm not bragging or complaining, but just the truth. I've been kicked in the head by four-legged animals and two-legged animals. And you know what? I got over it. I stood up and I got over it. And I'm not bragging or complaining, but I'm just saying. But the world's too civilized
for that now. We shouldn't be doing any of that. But of course, then the first thing that happens is Antifa goes out into the streets, and they're doing that. And anybody who has a trunk cap on, you've got some punk guys coming by and yanking them off or hitting them or beating on them or whatever and throwing them in the middle of the streets in these metropolitan, cosmopolitan cities.
Well, if the guy that does that winds up in the hospital, then he might learn to not do that again.
Oh, but we can't do that because we're Republicans, we're conservatives, we're not the left.
Yeah, we're destroying manhood, and we're destroying freedom, and we're destroying the republic in which we live.
And this goes right back to the fact of the Republican Party. Nobody will stand up and call Adam Schiff and Pelosi and all this other stuff on their crap. They say one thing one week, another week, whatever suits them, and none of their colleagues on the other side of the aisle will call them on their crap publicly.
You know, I am so reminded of the hearings for Clarence Thomas. It was before the, I don't know if it was the House or the Senate, but he was there testifying, and Senator Metzenbaum got up to the podium and started reading a letter from some lady that accused Senator or Clarence Thomas of something. Anyway, there is a senator, I guess, named John Doggett from the state of Texas. And Mr. Doggett stood up behind his desk, put his fist on the desk, and he said, "Senator Metzenbaum, that you're reading is unsworn to testimony that is nothing but gossip. Now shut up." Mr. Metzenbaum never said another word. So I will say the same thing about Adam Schiff. Either put up or shut up. You keep talking about all this evidence you've got. Well, where is it?
Well, and Pelosi, the cover-up. What cover-up? Show me where the cover-up is.
They're engaging in gossip. They're not engaging in sworn to testimony.
No facts.
If Adam Schiff has the facts, present the facts.
Well, and if he hasn't presented the facts and he's been withholding those facts, then what kind of jeopardy does that put him in legally?
Well, exactly.
Because he's obstructing justice then.
Well, and somebody's always accusing Donald Trump of treason or, okay, prove it. You know, I'd like to see Republicans like Lindsey Graham, he sure did once in the Kavanaugh hearings, stand up like a man and act like a man, or a lady, whichever the case is, but stand up for what you believe in and call them on the carpet. You're accusing Donald Trump of treason? Okay, explain that. Prove it. Where is your proof that he's guilty of treason? Let's hear it. Oh, you have an anonymous source. I see. Okay. They all have a lot of anonymous sources. In other words, they ain't got nothing. Okay, they're telling me I got to shut up so we can go to break. So y'all hang in there, and we'll be back in just a minute.
children have to be told there's bullshit.
That was my bad.
Okay, I don't want to make sure we don't have dead air.
Yeah. Good.
And we're back. So it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure everybody's out having a good time.
Well, and let's remember, folks, what Memorial Day weekend is about. Well, what's the holiday about? Is this about video games and you know? And I think that you ought to go out and enjoy your barbecue and your beer or whatever it is you're doing. You ought to enjoy that. But while you're enjoying all of that, let's remember what Memorial Day, what it's about. I guess what comes to my mind is the statue of the boys on Iwo Jima. You know, there was a movie called The Sands of Iwo Jima, and we tend to forget what some of our military boys have done and what they went through doing it.
But in multiple wars, not just one or two.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way back to the beginning.
Starting back in 1776, you know, there's been a lot of folks died for this country and for this flag. And that's why when I see somebody dishonoring the flag, boy, I get about half upset. I guess I just can't help it. I'm just born that way, I guess. But here's old Rick in Salado, and he's going to tell us what about Memorial Day. Go ahead on, Rick.
Hey, good afternoon. You still there?
Yes, sir.
Right here.
Good. It just seemed like the noise went away, and I thought maybe I lost you. When you said that we're not all created equal, it got me to thinking.
Uh-oh.
And, you know, in the Constitution, yeah, that is dangerous. But anyway, in the Constitution, I mean, I think it's the preamble or something, or it says all men are created equal.
Right.
I don't believe they meant that a little scrawny teenager is equal to a full-grown man. I don't think that's what they meant.
No, I think they meant an equal rights.
Well, and we're equal in the eyes of God, Rick.
It's like they didn't like having monarchies, and so when they broke away from the crown, they wanted a self-governance. You know, where there's no king and no queen.
Yeah, we didn't bow down and kiss the feet of the king or the queen or whoever it is.
And we didn't want a standing army that could just barge into your house when they needed to feed their troops.
Oh, you mean like the FBI does now?
Yeah, and now we've kind of gone opposite of that. We've got a gigantic federal government that it's a centralized government, which the founding fathers never wanted anything like that. You know, whatever powers they gave to the government in the Constitution, that's all they were given. The rest of it is delegated to the states. But what have we done?
Well, Rick, let me tell you what we've done. We've taken terms, just words, and we have used them to the idiotic, ridiculous, bitter end, like equality between men and women, equality between this and that, or whatever it may be. You know, there are differences in men and women. A man's muscle mass is different to a woman's. A lot of things are physically different. Now, if you don't like that idea, you got to blame it on God, because I'm not the one who created them. But I'm just saying, let's at least be decent enough and truthful enough to recognize that there are differences. You know, there's a difference between a chimpanzee and a gorilla. You know, there's not 100% equality in everything in this world.
And you know what what one of the legacies of the Obama administration is a blurring of gender lines.
Yes.
I don't know how that happened or why it happened, but it just seems like the Democrats did a about face around the time, about the middle of Obama's in the middle of his 2 terms. All of a sudden, he went, you know, instead of being marriage being between a man and a woman, all of a sudden it's between a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, and it was basically the Democrats who did the about face.
And let me ask you a question, Rick. What is their goal? Where do they want to go with this? How far do they want to take it? What do they want to accomplish with this new road we're traveling? You know,
well,
what's the end result?
Look at Common Core, the teaching curriculum that was introduced at that time.
Yeah.
It's basically indoctrination.
Well, it is, and look at the quality of people we're graduating in our high schools. We now rank, 28th in the world in math scores and that kind of thing. You know, just look at the results of what Common Core has produced. And I keep asking the question, what did they intend to do when they introduced Common Core? When they introduced all these things, gender equality, what was their goal? What did they want to do? Did they want to destroy the United States of America?
Yeah, they want everybody to be good globalists and just accept the fact that, you know, that we're no longer going to be the lone superpower in the world, that our borders are going to be completely open, that anything goes in our society. Well, you can even kill babies after they're born. I mean, it's no big deal.
Well, think about this. Okay, I know this is kind of conspiracy theorist, but they keep people keep moving to the cities. They keep losing their land for a variety of reasons. Economics, small towns are closing up, rolling up their streets. Factories and companies are moving away, and so people are having to move to more metropolitan, areas, okay? And they're having to live in more and more apartment, skyrise type facilities and pay rent and no longer own anything. Well, you know what? They kind of are now under somebody else's control and not their own, aren't they? Isn't that just another factor?
Well,
yeah, and I'm going to let y'all go so other people can get on, and I just want to say that I never could have done what those people did on the beaches in any of those battles. I probably would have been a company clerk or something, if I was drafted.
We're not all cut out to do that, Rick, and that's, if your place was to be a company clerk and you did the best you knew how to do, then so be it. That's okay. But I'm just saying, we don't need to create a whole generation of company clerks, because we've got to have some people that will defend that flag, like the Sands of Iwo Jima.
In a physical manner.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully I'll talk to y'all next week.
Okay, you be careful out there, Rick.
Bye.
All right, so we need to talk about alpha hydraulics.
Alpha hydraulics?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we do. Alpha Hydraulics is up there in Spiegelville. That's just west of Waco. Their address is 8468 North Highway 6 in Waco. That's really in Spiegelville, a little small town up there. But Alpha Hydraulics is somebody that you can take your hydraulic valve or your hydraulic whatever it may be. We've taken them pavement breakers and valves and all kind of things, and they can fix it. And they're just awful good people. Take it up there and talk to Larry. Larry Cobb is the owner, and he'll fix them hydraulics for you. Now, his phone number, in case you need to call him, is 254-848-9981. That's 254-848-9981. He's a good sponsor of this show, and he's also a good hydraulic repairman. So y'all give him a holler up there.
And if you want to call in, the number here is 254-733-1400. And we got Ed on the phone.
Uh-oh, we got Ed out there. Ed, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, Mr. Conn and Tina.
Hey, Ed, how are you? Hey,
Very
can you
good.
talk up just a little bit? You're real faint.
Okay, sorry. Is that better?
A little bit. I think it's our second line's goofy.
I'm getting an echo on this end as well.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to hang up and call back?
Already.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so in the meantime here, got another one for you.
Okay, here's one too, talking about hydraulics now. Right here in Temple, Texas, between Temple and Belton, is a place called Extreme Hoses and Hydraulics. If you've got a used hydraulic hose on your backhoe or your farm tractor or whatever it may be, if you need that hose replaced, take it out there to Extreme Hose. His phone number is 254-231-3403. Let me repeat that. It's 231-3403. And his location is 5300 South General Bruce Drive. Now that's on the access road on the west side of Interstate 35. Y'all give them a holler. I have used them for years. I take a busted hydraulic hose off of a tractor or whatever it's on and take it in there. And while I'm standing there, they fix it. I mean, they'll fix it quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Well, Ed called right back in a quick, fast, and a hurry, too.
Yeah. I guess Ed is back on that other phone. Ed, are you there?
Is this any better?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it is. A lot better.
Okay. Well, just to elaborate just a bit more on what Rick had said about the deception that we're facing, I'm going to quote William Casey, the former CIA director, and he said, "We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." And we've been lied to for decades and probably centuries. And one of the issues that I want to bring up, because it's Memorial Day, are these issues with war. We send brave people into the meat grinder to get killed and hurt badly. For what reason? And I want to focus on Iran right now because there seems to be another hot potato that's going on. And my belief, and this is my 2 cents, that we need to bring our soldiers, our military off foreign soil and put them on our borders, defending our borders against the invaders. And the ones that are in this country need to be removed from this country as well.
Well, let me comment on what William Casey said. He said, talking about us being lied to, and I agree, it's been going on for a long time, but never to this degree. You know, I have watched politics since I was 18 years old, and I've seen problems since that time, but I have never seen this degree and this severity of lying to the public. Look at Adam Schiff. I was just talking about him a while ago. You know, the lying dog, you can't tell the truth about nothing, but he's still, you know, chairman of that committee. Look at how many representatives and senators, well, they're not qualified to be the dog catcher. And here they are, a representative or a senator that's controlling our lives.
Well, here's something to think about. So Bush, you know, pushed for going into Iraq, okay, because the WMDs that the intel community and other countries said absolutely was there. So all the intel agencies were feeding all these different countries, all this information, and none of it was true. None of it was true. So they undermined Bush because he won over, you know, Gore and all that other mess, okay? Now they haven't been able to get Trump any other way. Are they feeding bad intel now on Iran as well? And they're starting this is their last way of taking him down. And then you've got the Saudis who whether it was the Saudi government or just, individuals in the Saudi government who were behind 9/11 and the money behind 9/11. Now we are selling all, how many billions of dollars worth of weapons we're now selling through executive order. And I'm not sure the executive order is the right term, but anyway, to them, that to me, there's something fishy going on. Is this their last ditch ever to take Trump down?
Well, and let's take a look at what's going on here. Did Barack Obama and even George W. Bush, did they stand up like a man's man and defend America and this country and this freedom?
With the information that we were given?
No, they didn't. Now, Donald Trump is standing up like a man and defending America, this Republic of America. And the Democrats just can't stand it. They can't stand it because he's standing up like a man. He stands for something. He hadn't fallen for everything yet. Excuse me, Ed, I didn't mean to...
No, boy, it's well stated. All your points by both of you are well stated, and I concur with all of it. So, that being said, I'm going to jump and let somebody else speak.
Well, we didn't intend to run you off, Ed.
My time
you don't have anything to say about the distract, deflate, obstruction, cover-up, declassification is a cover-up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? I thought you would be, all over that.
Well, I think all the lies need to be exposed. When you started speaking, Conn, you mentioned that never has the deception been as commonplace as it is today. That's true. And a person doesn't know what to believe anymore.
Well,
you can't turn on the TV because it's basically the ministry of propaganda. All the media.
But Ed, it's never been accepted as readily as it is today.
People have been stupefied.
Well,
They've been bombarded. They've been bombarded with BS from day one.
And look at whether it's the news media or our congressman. When somebody makes a statement like Adam Schiff, why don't they stand up like John Doggett did before Mr. Metzenbaum in the hearings about Clarence Thomas, and just tell it like it is. Stand up there and say, that's gossip, folks. That's not sworn to testimony. Now either prove it or shut up. We need people that will stand up like a man and get in their face.
It's even more than gossip. It's outright falsehood.
Yeah, it's just a lie.
They get away with it. They're not challenged. When Trump challenges them on their lies, they have that ministry of propaganda media that just takes over and lies about Trump.
Well, that's why I get about half upset when I hear somebody say, well, Adam Schiff might be a little bit disingenuous. No, he's not disingenuous. He's a lying dog. Why don't you call him what he is? And then when he brings up, well, Donald Trump lied or Donald Trump, okay, all right, prove it. Tell me what he lied about. Prove it. Because
they've been lying.
If you can't prove it, then it's gossip. And if it's gossip, you need to shut up.
They've been lying to the American public for so damn long and getting away with it. They just perpetuate their lies.
Well, and that's because we accept it. Like I say, nobody's standing up saying, prove it.
Nobody's writing letters to their congressman saying, hey, why aren't you standing up and calling this SOB? Don't say SOB, but, what he is. Why don't you call him out? And we expect you to call him out. Why aren't you doing that?
Well, and where are our representatives? Our local representative here, Mr. Flores or Mr. Carter or Mr. whoever, are they standing up and calling them?
You mean inactive Carter?
I'd like to see our representative or our senator stand up in front of Adam Schiff or whoever. I'd like to see them stand up, their face get red, their eyes get little, and say, put up or shut up. We need to stand up for something, or else we're falling for everything, and that's what's happening today in the U.S. Congress.
Well, Ed, thank you for the call.
You folks have a good day. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, folks, here we are back. If y'all have got something to say, the phone number to call in here is 773-1400. So y'all give us a holler, and we'll let you rant and rave like we're doing. I think we got Lee on the line. Lee, what are you on the rant and rave about?
Hey, I'm just upset that the the gaslighting that's going on. You know what gaslighting is. You know, they're blowing it all out of proportion and trying to make the public see it a different way, which is false.
Hey, Lee.
You know what I mean?
Lee, Lee, I'm sorry. We're having trouble with our line 2. Can you call us back on the first line here in just a few minutes? I'm so sorry to ask you to do that. We really want to hear what you have to say about the gaslighting.
Yeah, I'll call you back. Bye.
Okay, I'm afraid the listening audience can't hear you. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Lee.
Do we have somebody else on the line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put them up.
Okay, we got somebody else on the line here that wants to talk. Yeah, go ahead on, caller.
Well, Conn, this is your old friend Billy out of here in Moffett.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a little information if you want to rant to your local representative.
Okay.
He will be in Temple, Texas.
Now, who's that, Billy?
John Carter.
Oh, John Carter.
Lovely.
Okay.
John Carter will be in Temple, Texas at a town hall meeting.
You got to be kidding.
It will be in the Temple City Council chambers Tuesday at noon.
Okay. In the City Hall.
City Hall.
Okay,
City
that's
Hall,
right there in the middle of Temple, ain't it?
That's right downtown Temple, yes, sir. Right
Okay.
there on the square, and he's supposed to be there an hour. So I think we ought to get everybody we can and their dogs come up there and find out what he's all about.
Well, and I would like people to ask him the question, what do you stand for? Do you stand up and listen to Adam Schiff make accusations like that and don't tell
Well, I
words?
think you should go and ask him that.
Well, if I can just find the time, I'll do that.
Well, you better find the time. It's important.
It's Tuesday.
We're going to
when?
meet you there at noon on Tuesday.
Tuesday at noon, okay. Well, now, I'll probably try to show up. And are you going to bring something that you can defend me with in case somebody wants to knock my cap off?
I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, Joe. Thank you for the info.
You bet.
You bet. Talk to you later.
You be careful, Billy. Thank you for that information. That's next Tuesday at noon at the City Hall in Temple, Texas. John Carter, our local U.S. representative, will be there for 1 hour. And I guess he'll take questions and comments from the general population out there.
Let's give him an earful.
And let's attend that, and let's ask him some good questions, because we need to know what are our representatives doing. What do they represent? Do they represent us, or do they represent people like Alan Schiff that's just a lying dog? Who do they represent? I would just kind of like to know that. You know, they make pretty good money up there in Washington. I guess they get a retirement that they can live off of for the rest of their life. What do they do for that money? What do they do when they get up there to Washington, D.C.? Do they just kind of sit there, or well, here's Raymond, and I bet Raymond will tell us. Raymond, what do you think?
Yes, sir. Thank you for accepting my call here today. I just find it appropriate, you know, since this is Memorial Day. You know, God bless all the soldiers that fought for this country and are no longer here, and the ones that are here, God bless you too. My call is this: that individual person that was for the Taliban, you know, he came into the United States government to be a soldier for the United States, and he turned a traitor. And then he got put in the penitentiary for, 17 years, needing 3 to get out. You know, I think they should have gave that guy the death penalty. You know, he was proud to wear that Taliban uniform and just showing himself and everything. I don't understand that. Even President Trump made a comment concerning that guy.
Well, my question...
you know, me as a former United States Marine back in the day in the Vietnam era, if that guy would have done that back then, I guarantee you they would have gave him the death penalty.
Well,
but listen,
I can remember a day, Raymond, when the people in the pen with him would have taken care of him. Because even though some people are in the penitentiary, they're still patriotic American citizens. And I just don't know how he got out of the pen.
Yeah, well, you know, Conn, I can sit here and just say, I don't understand, how this guy did what he did to offend the country where he came from and did what he did. And sure, he served some time, but he should have got the death penalty for doing what he did.
Well, I just don't understand how they're releasing him when he's still.
I don't understand that either. But listen, I don't want to take up your time. I just wanted to make that brief comment, and y'all have a very good day. And thank you for letting me speak what I had to say.
Thanks,
you have a good day. Thank you,
Raymond. You got my motor started again now. But
well, the only reason that I came out there to say this is it's really bad.
Hey, Raymond, we lost you. Sorry.
I think we lost you, Raymond. But thank you for the call, and you be careful out there. Okay. I agree with Raymond. I don't know how that traitor was able to get out of the penitentiary, but I also don't understand why it is that there's a lot of people like him that we are feeding to the tune of $60,000 a year, taking care of them. And why is that? See, we used to have the death penalty. A good example, there's a man that just went in and killed the mother and father and kidnapped a 14-year-old daughter. And she managed to escape and identify him. Well, they just sentenced him to 17 years in prison. My question is, how did he get out of the courthouse? Let me, I better be careful here what I say.
Okay, so we really hope that Lee calls back since he hasn't.
Yeah, Lee.
He hasn't yet. So the phone lines are open right now, Lee, if you want to call in at 254-733-1400, and we'll put you back up.
But, the guy that killed the parents and kidnapped the 14-year-old daughter, why is it we housed him for 17 years at the tune of $60,000 a year? What is his redeeming social value? What worth is he to the American society? And people like that. I think we ought to return to the death penalty, because there are cases where keeping someone alive for the next 15 or 20 or 50 years, why?
Well, if you've got DNA and witnesses and the victim and all that, then I say pretty much that you could probably do that safely.
Yeah, if it's just circumstantial evidence, that's one thing. But when you've got witnesses and DNA, you've got all the proof that the guy did it, then why is he still here?
Hey, so let's talk about Chris Copeland at A1 Gun Works. He just opened up a gun shop down there in Academy on Highway 95. And I've been by there a couple times. I took a picture of the outside. I forgot to stop and get his hours. But easy to get to, easy to find. Chris is a veteran of the U.S. Army, 2 combat tours, graduated the Colorado School of Trades, and he is supposed to be one of the best gunsmiths there is around. And whether you need barrel chambering, threading, building custom rifles, repairing all manners of guns, new or old, custom 911s, refinishing, et cetera, Chris is your guy. So,
well, and keep in mind now, when my son David says he's an excellent gunsmith, that means he's an excellent gunsmith. So if you need your gun worked on, well, there's a place to take it.
Yeah, it's Chris Copeland at A1 Gun Works, and his number is 254-721-2773. 721-2773, and he's down there in Little River Academy on 95. So give him a call and find out what his hours are, and he's even open on Saturdays. So you can go down there and get done whatever you need to have done, or buy a new gun from him, because he makes custom guns too, is my understanding.
If you have a hard time finding him, when you get there, look on the east side of 95. You'll see a bunch of U-Haul trucks parked around there. Well, you're real close when you get there.
It's a long tan building, mustard color building, and he's just about in the middle of it.
Okay. So, have we got Lee on the line, or we still?
No, he didn't call back yet.
Okay. Lee, don't get lost out there.
Yeah, we feel bad about that.
Okay. I do want to bring up something. Used to, the people in this country They operated on common sense and logic and traditional values. Whatever happened to that day and time? What do we operate now on?
Society's been so dumbed down and told they can't spank their children and can't look crosswise at them, and the school districts are going to feed them and do everything else for them, that we don't think anymore.
That common sense and logic and traditional values was mostly based on biblical values and biblical teachings. Well, now we seem to have abandoned all that in favor of gender equalization and all this ridiculous left-wing progressive stuff that we're seeing happen to our country. What is the end result of that, folks? Where are we going with this? I keep bringing this up, but if I get over here on Interstate 45 and head south, if I'm not careful, I'm going to wind up in Houston, Texas, whether I want to be there or not. Now, if I wanted to go to Dallas and I'm heading south, sorry, folks, I'm going to be in Houston. Well, this road that we're traveling now in America, where does this road take us? This progressive road that we're traveling, what is the end result? The end result is destroying the Republic of the United States of America. We've seen that happen in societies before, historically, and as someone said once, if you don't profit from the mistakes of history, you are destined to repeat them. There has been many societies that have self-destructed, and are we doing the same thing? And if we are, why are we the people allowing this to happen? When are the patriotic, freedom-loving, Christian Americans going to stand up and be counted? When is that?
Well, not only that, as citizens, we have a job to do. It's, part of our existence here is to keep this country the way it was built.
Yes.
We can't just stand around silent and whine or get on Facebook and whine.
Well, and there's an old saying that is so true, and it applies to everything that's happening in this country today. The old saying is, silence is consent. If we remain silent, then I guess we agree with what's happening to us. Now, right now, Brett is on the phone, and he's going to get all this figured out for me. Brett, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead on.
Listen, this guy, the Taliban guy that got out of prison,
Yes.
why was he not shot?
That was kind of our question.
Because, I thought one time if you were traitor to your country, you get shot or you do prison time and lose your citizenship. What the hell happened?
Brett, you're breaking up real bad. We're not getting you very clear.
Yeah, he said that at one time that you were either shot, you lost your citizenship, you lost your rights.
Yeah.
And he's lost nothing, except for a few years. So.
Well, yeah. But that's my point, Brett. Where are we going with this? This is getting to be more prevalent, where you got people like Chelsea Manning, or whatever his name was before he was a she.
Yeah.
He just walked off and joined the enemy for how long, and now they bring him back and they're paid for his
operation.
And
Trump said
where are we going with this?
Trump said that he had his people look into every single possible way to keep this guy in, and there was no way to do it.
I don't understand this. I mean, I was a veteran, 31 years in the Marine Corps, and retired sergeant major, and I just do not know where our country's going. Where is it going?
Well, that's my point, Brett. This road we're traveling, what's the destination? And is that where we want to go? It's not where I want to go.
No. Neither.
I was raised by some parents that expected me to be a man's man, not a girly man. And I think we've only got 1 minute left, Brett, and I think we're just about out of time. Don't lose the phone number, Brett. Call back in.
Thank you for your call.
Thanks for your show.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
So, if you would like to advertise on this show, you can call 254-300-1885. That's 300-1885. We're going to go to a hard break, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Well.